Well, joining us now is the CIC and who's also an author on the book on Veer Savarkar, Shri Uday Mahurkar. Udayji, namaste. Independence Day greetings, but I'm going to start with that very question first up. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed and named Veer Savarkar as among a host of others who have given their blood, sweat and toil in fighting for the freedom of this country. But then we have this instance in Shivamogga where there is absolute intolerance to Savarkar, so much so that his posters are torn and a man is stabbed.
You see, I think we should go into history. This is all because of baggage left behind by the Congress. Congress has always tried to appease minority community, encourage the radical elements within the minority community, and for that they have been almost abusive of great patriots like Savarkar. Now Savarkar is not just a patriot. He is known as a revolutionary, but his biggest contribution is the efforts he made to prevent India's partition and the warnings which he gave on the threats to India's national security. I think all the problems which India has faced on the national security front over the last 80 years, 70 years, were predicted by Savarkar 60 to 80 years ago. Assam, China, India's partition, consequences of Muslim appeasement, consequences of encouraging radicalism, Pakistan, whatever we have faced, when our soldiers die fighting, sacrifice their lives fighting Pak-backed terrorists in Kashmir, each time I remember Savarkar's warnings, So Savarkar is the biggest symbol of India's unity and integrity. Therefore, those who have a divisive agenda, those who want to survive on divided India, it is necessary for them to abuse Savarkar. Because Savarkar's ideology is one, it's a unique ideology. It has all the space for those who are patriotic in the true sense.
Yes.
But it has the power to detect those who want to masquerade as patriots, but they are not. So I am not surprised. And Wahhabism, you see, ultra Wahhabism in India has grown due to Congress's patronage in the last 70 years. So you will find more such incidents in future. India has to stand strong. It is the 76th year of India's independence. I think India has to identify the true patriots. India has to assess every patriot in terms of his contribution, and when you do that, then Savarkar stands on a very high pedestal.
But how would you react to somebody like Siddaramaiah, former chief minister of the state, making a statement like, why did they have to go through Muslim areas and put up posters in Muslim areas? What is this concept of Hindu area, Muslim area ghettoization? Do you agree with it? And why should anybody reject someone like Savarkar?
In a truly democratic, truly nationalist India, with true secularist credentials, the yatra has to pass from Muslim area, but with discipline. Yes, there have been instances very recently when such yatris have indulged in provocative ways while passing through Muslim areas. Yes. I don't support that. That is totally wrong. But if India is a truly secular country, then Shobha yatras of leaders like Savarkar have to pass through Muslim areas. And this is the symbol, what Mr. Siddaramaiah is saying, is a symbol of the appeasement politics of Congress. The worst part is, it has grown over the years. Savarkar was never portrayed as a divisive by even Mrs. Gandhi. Nehru had accepted RSS in 1963 when he saw the services which RSS had delivered to the Indian soldiers on the Nepal border. It was a good gesture on part of Pandit Nehru to call them to participate in the 1963 Republic Day parade. But what has happened is Congress has turned more and more pro-Muslim. It has been leaning on Muslim appeasement to survive in politics, and the greater the need for Muslim appeasement, the greater the need to abuse and to defame and to vilify Savarkar. Anand.
Well, there are some parallels being drawn, Udayji, some parallels being drawn between Tipu Sultan and Veer Savarkar. Where do you stand?
No, Tipu Sultan, you see, Tipu Sultan history, let me put it here in very briefly, you know. Tipu Sultan was an out and out fanatic in the first 8-10 years of his rule. But when Marathas, Britishers, Nizam, even Nizam, when they all got together against him, that time he suddenly found that he needs the support of his Hindu masses. And therefore, he started wooing Hindus in the last 7-8 years of his life. But Tipu, and it was a very tactical retreat. Not like Akbar. I strongly believe that Akbar, after 1570, was a true convert to liberal ideas, and therefore Akbar, mind you, Anand, is the most hated figure in all Wahhabi madrasas. In all Deobandi, Ahle Hadith, Tabligh Jamaat madrasas, Akbar is the most hated figure. Same cannot be said of Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan did become a moderate toward the last phase of his career, but it was dictated by circumstances. Otherwise, you see, even Aurangzeb did not indulge so much into kidnapping and dishonor of Hindu women. But Tipu did. Tipu was in one sense worse than Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb, as we read Aurangzeb's history minutely, we find that he went on a temple destruction spree. But we don't get so much evidence to say that he was also indulging in dishonor of Hindu women like his predecessors like Lodi, Tughlaq, Khaljis. But Tipu Sultan, there is evidence, not only did he indulge in temple destruction, but he also he also indulged in dishonor of Hindu women.
But Udayji, Dhananjay Gir, Vikram Sampath, yourself have written exhaustively on Savarkar. Do you believe there is a need to change the narrative so that those who have a misconstrued or misinformed opinion about Veer Savarkar, to the extent that they can go ahead and stab somebody who supports Savarkar or who idolizes or who eulogizes Savarkar, do you believe there is a need to change this narrative?
No, but there is a way to inform. What is happening? You see, Muslim community is divided into three parts: the most radical, the less radical or the orthodox, and the moderates. So you have to have a three-pronged strategy to tackle Muslims, the Muslim problem rather, so to say. Now there is a section of ultra-patriotic Hindus. I can understand because it is out of sheer provocation because of the activities of the radical Islamists, you know. But then this tendency to equate all Muslims as one, it is also not good.
Correct.
And Savarkar himself,
I agree with you.
See, Savarkar spoke positively about Akbar. There is a lot of evidence for that. Savarkar, whenever there was a genuinely patriotic Muslim, Savarkar did reach out to him. So we have to understand Savarkar, we have to sell the true Savarkar to the people of this country.